TG Geeks, episode 82, June 20th, 2016. Has it been 2 years already? Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I am Keith Lane and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely, unbearably hot Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from, back sometime last winter, we were the coldest place in the continental U.S., and I think today and tomorrow, Monday, we will be the hottest place in the continental U.S. And where is that? Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes. So, welcome to our second anniversary, or anniversary of 2 years in existence. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. Yeah. So
2 years.
2 years ago.
Today. And when this episode comes out.
Exactly. So this is, we're going to do a little bit of retrospective, and then we're going to do a Feedback-apalooza.
Yeah, because we've got 3 weeks worth.
Yeah, and we're going to catch up on the birthdays, and then we're going to have a couple of little special comments about a couple of things. And so let's just kind of launch into it. I wanted to play that one because that's my favorite sound. I love that sound. I was so happy when I found that on Pond 5.
I remember you played it for me when you were looking for sounds. And for people who don't know, where do you get those things?
I buy off of pond5.com.
This is some great stuff.
A wealth of little clips. I mean, if you're into podcasting or webcasting or YouTube or anything like that, they've got all kinds of video clips, audio clips, songs, music, practically full scores. People go there and they buy stuff, to make movies and real TV and film. So I've looked through their catalog quite a bit and
you
found
continue
some interesting stuff. Yeah.
And I love that piece of music. I remember the first time you played it for me, I got very nostalgic because, for people who don't know, Keith and I are big Disney fans, and listening to that sort of reminded me of the very first time we ever stepped foot in Epcot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's got that future world kind of vibe to it that you see in the opening park of Epcot, and I was like, okay, that's it.
Yep.
I love it.
So we're going to talk about a little retrospective of our second anniversary. So it was on June 20th, 2014, that I signed up and downloaded WordPress, and that's what we use today for our website. I signed up for the website, the domain, downloaded WordPress, and did our first Hello World post on June 20th, 2014. And that was our About Us post that I put out there. And then we started doing different posts, and just go down the list of, we've had 82 episodes with this episode, 716 posts on our website since June 20th, 2014. We started just as tggeeks.com with TG Geeks Webcast. That came, I think it was the weekend after that, and we have expanded to be the Two Gay Geeks as the twogaygeeks.net and twogaygeeks.net and twogaygeeks.com. The twogaygeeks.com. That is, oh my God, as well as a number of other things. Anyway, so we've also got, we did 3 Phoenix Comic-Cons so far. With this one, we just finished.
Yeah, this is number 3.
2 Phoenix Comic-Con Fan Fests. numerous film festivals and interviews at different film festivals, 2 world premieres.
Yeah, the second one just like last weekend.
Exactly. Many, many, many interviews.
More interviews than I care to count at this
gosh.
point. And that's really recent, too.
Yeah. And from just reading the news to actually talking about the news and the newsmakers and talking to the newsmakers.
Yeah, that wow. I don't want to say anything about that because I don't want to open any ugly doors. But yeah, to be able to actually talk to people that were responsible for creating the content. I mean, we report it, but to actually talk to the people that are responsible for the creation of the news content was kind of a big deal for us.
Yeah, and transitioning from thinking we were all about the major studios and television and
which
and film.
We still we like it,
absolutely, but transitioning to being real huge supporters of independent creators. I mean, not completely going out there and just forgetting about the major studios, etc., but finding that thing for us, our kind of niche at this point of what we are good at this point. You know, and I think the other things will eventually come.
They probably will, but I think
I am absolutely satisfied with talking to independent creators.
I am too, and I think they need a champion, so to speak. They need a voice, and it's nice to be able to be that voice for them.
Yeah, and their love and their excitement about their craft and whatever it is that they do, whether it's, you know, other podcasters, you know, comic book creators, writers, filmmakers, across the board. It's just unbelievable.
Something that we've said a number of times, both on this show and on other shows. Yes, we've been on other shows.
Yeah.
And we have repeatedly stated that there is a wealth of talent out there. So to not be recognized by the major studios or the major publishing houses, you know, organizations like that, I think is something of a travesty. But in this day of digital media, it's a great opportunity for people to get their content out there. So yeah, we're happy to let people know the kind of movies that they can go see, that it doesn't have to be put out by Paramount, or it doesn't have to be put out by 20th Century Fox. I mean, there are some very strong independent creators, filmmakers out there. There are some amazing independent authors out there. All over the board. Computer programmers, clothing designers. I mean,
it's just unbelievable.
The list goes on and on and on. There's just such great talent out there. So yeah, it's a great pleasure that we get to be the ones to actually kind of stand up on the pedestal and say, hey, take a look at what's over here.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a big name brand. It can be, you know, a little offshoot brand that actually is up and coming. You know, who knows? Some of these people that we've talked to, they might be big someday.
They could very well be big.
They might stay small. You never know. But they might have a large audience. You know, there's nothing that says that you can't be a small independent creator and have an enormous audience.
You know, and I just think back to the film festival that we came from, which was Dances with what was the
Dances with Films.
Dances with Films. Somebody that we interviewed recently, Zach Noe Taylor, his short for Killer Friends won Best Short.
Yeah, Best of Festival.
For Best of Festival for a short film subject. So who knows? He might become, like, you know, the next big actor or writer / director. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, there is such enormous talent out there, and as we saw last year at Horrible Imaginings, the wealth,
oh my Lord,
the pure wealth of amazing films that were there, the short films. I was just astonished.
Amazing films and talent and people that are excited about
I was
making films.
I was blown away by the talent, by the caliber of the actors, and the writers and the directors. I mean, there is really, really great stuff out there. So yeah, I think independent creators definitely need to be looked at, and I think, you know, even if we do manage to move up to the point where we can talk to the major people in the major studios, the major actors, whatever, I don't think at any point I actually want to abandon the independent people.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Again, they need to be noticed. And I know that we're both more than happy to be the ones who, give that rallying cry to say, take a look at this movie or take a look at this book.
Yeah, and that's why we are constantly pushing, and we'll talk about that in some the follow-up item. We're constantly pushing something, go support an independent creator, go to Kickstarter, go to Indiegogo, take a look at some of that stuff. There is more stuff out there than you can believe.
Mm-hmm.
And just the many, many interviews that we've done, too many to even name.
Oh, no, we talked about it yesterday while we were out, and we agreed that there was just too many to list.
Too many things and too many people. I don't want to shortchange anybody, so
No,
I'll shortchange everybody.
Yeah, we'll shortchange you all because you're all equal in our eyes.
Absolutely.
And you're all wonderful in our eyes. We appreciate every single one of you.
And that's why I wanted to say this one little thing that I've written here. It says, we want to thank everyone who has been supportive over the 2 years that we have existed. I would love to name every single person that has commented, written an article, was interviewed, looked at our website, shared a post, asked about our venture, and even those that have sent us hate mail. You taught us how to respond without being hateful ourselves and pushed us to another level of excellence and seeking out the truth. Thank you to everyone, and thank you finally for the Parsec Award nomination.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal for us. We know what the Parsec Awards are simply because we worked with one of the creators of the Parsec Awards, Mike Menengay.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw him yesterday at the Technorama pool party, and we know what the Parsec Awards are. If you don't, go to parsecawards.com and check it out. It's a big deal.
Absolutely.
In the podcasting community, anyway.
Yeah.
So that's our 2 years. Anything else you want to say about?
Man, I don't know. There's, like I said, there's just so much. Okay, so kind of to tie in the 2 years plus the Parsec thing that you just mentioned, it's amazing to see where we've come.
Oh, yeah.
In the 2 years, because
our first episode was what, 12 minutes?
About 12 minutes long. And I remember you mentioned, it was a shame that we didn't get the nomination for the Parsec Award the first year because we could have gone into that category of new podcasts.
Yeah.
And while we possibly could have stood a good chance of winning the award that year, I'm actually kind of glad that we didn't, or at least we weren't nominated, because I think purely over the last, not even the last year, less than a year from today, the way we have grown, the way our show has morphed, I mean, it just changed almost overnight.
Absolutely.
And the content for what we share has just shot up in ways that I never could have imagined. I mean, I had hoped would happen, but I just didn't think it would happen like that.
Yeah.
So it's just I just couldn't say enough about where we've come so far.
Yeah, I think it's kind of neat, and we can keep looking up.
Absolutely.
Jack Horkheimer used to say.
Yeah.
So that's our 2 years retrospective.
Hi, I'm Patricia Chica, director producer of Morning After.
And I'm Christian Hotko, writer and actor of Morning After. And you're listening to the Two Gay Geeks podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And that is the birthdays. We got epic birthdays.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
A few selected birthdays for June 6th through June 26th, 2016. On June 6th was Robert Englund, Jason Isaacs, Sarah Bernhard, who we actually met at an HRC function here in Phoenix a number of years ago.
Oh, boy, did she intimidate.
Yeah. And also June 6th, the Dalai Lama. June 7th was birthday of Prince. He died just before his birthday.
Yeah, sad.
It was kind of sad. June 7th, also Liam Neeson, Tom Jones, Carl Urban, and Jessica Tandy. June 8th, Carl River. Where the heck did that come from?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I was reading sideways through my bifocals. June 8th is Joan Rivers, Colin Baker, Robert Preston, Frank Lloyd Wright, and Robert Schumann. June 9th, Johnny Depp, Natalie Portman, Michael J. Fox, Les Paul, Cole Porter, and Danny Roberts, who is an independent comic creator.
Oh,
we
yes.
met at Verde Valley Comic Expo. He's the creator of Atomic Cattle Drive.
And we got the pleasure of seeing him
Yeah,
again
we saw
at
it.
Comic-Con. It was a real joy.
And he gave us one of his very first comics.
Yeah,
that he released.
and you know what would really touch me is how supportive he is of us.
Yeah.
I was really pleased by
he
that.
remembered us, and he was just all excited to see us. It was really nice.
I was very moved by that.
Yeah. June 10th, Judy Garland. On June 11th, Gene Wilder, Peter Dinklage, Jacques Cousteau, Shia LaBeouf, Richard Strauss.
Or Richard.
Richard
If you don't like to
Strauss.
say Richard.
And Jeff Lynne, a friend of the show. June 12th, Richard Sherman. On June 13th, Chris Evans, Tim Allen, Paul Lind, Stellan Skarsgård, yeah, Malcolm McDowell, and Richard Thomas. And
That's all right. Do we want to talk about the Paul Lind?
sure, talk about Paul Lind.
Well, we've got a good friend, Al Lutz, and for a time he was living in West Hollywood, and he had it was kind of late at night. He was leaving a restaurant and went across the street where there was this shopping center. You have to help me with some of the details here.
Well, he was walking by, and then this limo drives up, and Paul Lind gets out of the back with his house shoes and
a caftan or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, something.
He was wearing a caftan, and all and he comes out with this thing, the crate of cat food, and he just looks at, and Al's just standing there the entire time, and he looks at Al and says, "It's for the kitties.
You have to feed the kitties." Anyway, so that was just funny, little funny trick.
I shared that on OutQ on Frank DeCaro's show because I knew that Frank would absolutely get a kick out of it. It became a meme.
You have to feed the kitties.
You have to feed the kitties. I was just absolutely floored that it became a meme. I mean, every so often he would do this thing where people just call in and just give little one-liner shots. And I couldn't believe the number of times I heard people would just say, "You have to feed the kitties." It kind of floored me to realize, Paul Lind left most bizarre legacy, long after he's gone.
Exactly. And I had a note here beside Richard Thomas. His parents were the founders of the New York School of Ballet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and also kind of spawned American Ballet Theater.
I didn't know that.
Was one of their students that became the director of American Ballet Theater. And and after that, in the 70s, 76, 77, something like that, they had a touring company it was mostly teenage ballet students. And they came through my little town, Muskogee, Oklahoma, and I got to see them dance and meet them. And it was just really kind of a neat little thing.
Oh, far out.
Yeah. Brushes with, with fame, shall we say.
Yeah.
Also on June 13th, we have Basil Rathbone. June 14th, Kathy Rippey Falconberry. She is my cousin. She is my oldest cousin, actually.
And one of our ardent supporters.
Yes, absolutely.
from almost from the beginning. So that's why we honor her.
Yeah. And also on June 14th is Burl Ives. So, Kathy, you share a birthday with Burl Ives. June 15th, Matt Chesson, the director of Focus, who's become a friend of the show. Also, June 15th, Neil Patrick Harris and Helen Hunt. I panicked!
Watch the Thanksgiving episode.
Watch the Thanksgiving episode,
You'll know what we mean.
Yes. Also, June 15th, Jim Varney, David Rose, who actually was a husband of Judy Garland and also a composer in his own right and did some incredible music. Also, Edvard Grieg on June 15th. June 16th, Stan Laurel. June 17th, Arthur Darvill, Barry Manilow, Burt Rutan, who has been instrumental in the aviation aeronautics industry. June 17th also is M.C. Escher in 1898 and Igor Stravinsky, 1882.
Escher was 1898.
Yeah.
Wow, the man was ahead of his time.
And way ahead of his time, yeah. June 18th, David Giuntoli from Grimm. Roger Ebert, Carol Kane, and Sir Paul McCartney. June 19th, Zoe Saldana and Guy Lombardo. June 20th.
Happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday to TG Geeks. Also, Birthday, John Goodman, Martin Landau, and Cyndi Lauper. June 21st, Prince William, Chris Pratt, Jane Russell.
Oh, of the stainless steel bra.
Yeah. June 22nd, Meryl Streep, Lindsay Wagner, Tim Russ, and Billy Wilder, famed director.
And Lindsay Wagner was just here at Phoenix Comic-Con, and I was able to get a glimpse of her. She must be performing witchcraft, because that woman does not age.
I didn't get a chance to see her.
I did, and she looks fabulous.
Great. June 23rd, Joss Whedon, Alan Turing, Bob Fosse, and Johannes Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing press, 1400. June 24th, Robert Downey Sr. and Mick Fleetwood. On June 25th, Armadillo,
a.k.a.
Dillo, a.k.a.
Sweetleaf.
Happy birthday.
From the Slice of Sci-Fi days, Dillo in Berlin is how he liked to introduce himself sometime. Yeah, he lives in Berlin, Germany, and he's a really awesome guy.
Yeah. Also on June 25th, Sidney Lumet.
Amazing film director.
Oh, yes. Carly Simon and George Orwell. And finally, on June 26th, Sean Hayes and Peter Lorre.
Interesting that those two would share the same day, because Sean Hayes is the executive producer of Grimm.
Yeah, and that's it for the birthdays.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey, this is Crazy Joe.
This is Dave, host of Megapodzilla,
The podcast equivalent to a 100-foot radioactive robot lizard.
but with horn-rimmed glasses and a pocket protector.
That's nerdy. We're on the rampage, laying waste to the geek landscape.
We'll talk movies, TV, comics, toys, video games.
And sometimes we talk turkey.
Don't you mean chicken?
That's right. So check us out at megapodzilla.com.
We're also available on iTunes and the Zune Marketplace.
Aw, yeah.
Go there. What the heck am I saying? I can't talk today. Go give a listen to our friend Crazy Joe over at Megapodzilla. And now,
Sit tight for it, people.
wait for it.
Wow, I never got to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Far out.
It's time for epic listener feedback.
Feedback. Yeah, we really need a reverb effect.
Yeah, I do need a reverb.
We need to add a reverb effect at
Yeah.
the board. Maybe when we do the next upgrade, maybe that we can find one that's got a reverb patch on it.
Exactly.
Okay, people, sit tight. 3 weeks worth of feedback. Well, some weeks ago, we ran a story about Toby Jones. Now, for people who may not remember right off the bat who Toby Jones is, he's probably most famous for playing Arnim Zola, the not German but Swiss evil scientist in the Marvel movies, most notably Captain America First Avenger and Captain America Winter Soldier. Plus, he did also have a brief cameo in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He has been cast to join Sherlock next year.
Wow.
Not much is said, except that the news reports say that he's going to play a villain in the second episode, so it's already begun filming. Anyway, we shared that episode, and good friend of the show, Mark Biaggi. Wow, he must love this guy, because he just simply came back with, awesome. I really enjoy Toby Jones' work. And he's right. And for anybody who wants to get a sense of the diversity of this man's skill, some of the things that he's done. I mean, he's been in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. He was in the Hunger Games. And he was also in an episode of Doctor Who where he played the Dream Lord in an episode called Amy's Choice.
Amy's Choice.
Yes, so you really get a sense. The man's a very diverse actor, so I can understand why Mark is really excited that he'll be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then we also ran a story where we said the Logan's Run reboot is still on track, and I think we both kind of shook our heads and it's like, oh, why are we doing that?
Why are we rebooting all these films?
Yeah, because Hollywood cannot think of an original idea.
Yeah.
Which is, once again, why we like independent creators. Okay, enough of that. Anyway, good friend Hamish Downey simply replied with, the original film was really ahead of its time. Well, yeah, it was.
It was. It really was. I loved it.
I
still love it.
I still love,
I mean, it's dated, but I still love the film.
And I hate to say this, I never saw it in the theater.
God.
I did not get to see it until it was on Showtime. And unfortunately, I saw it the first time the day after I saw Star Wars in the theater when it came out in 77. So I was kind of still riding the Star Wars high, and it's like, do I really want to watch this?
Yeah. Well, I saw it in the theater. I saw a lot of films in the theater at the Rats.
Well, it was tough for me to go see sci-fi films. I mean, it was, parents didn't really go for that.
Yeah.
But since then, I've seen Logan's Run a number of times. We have it on Blu-ray now, and maybe we need to watch it again because it really is.
It's a great film.
It's a gorgeous looking movie.
It kind of lags, at some points, and the ending is a little contrived, but
I don't know. I think I like the ending better than what they do in the book.
True.
So anyway, Hamish continues, I can see how they're probably going for something like the Twilight young adult films which have been so successful. Oh my God. If I see sparkly humans, I'm going to hang myself. My problem is that recent remarks have all been remakes. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was reading that too fast. Remakes. Recent remakes have all been so neutered. Case in point, the remakes of RoboCop and Total Recall. I wonder if they will keep the scenes in the sex club. My friend has one of the original guns. Now, for people who don't remember, it actually shot flames out 4 different sides along the barrel. He says, which he said were incredibly dangerous. So I wonder what they will do to top that. It'll probably look like a laser gun, like a blaster or something. That's my guess. And then we did a review last weekend. It came out last Saturday for Lilith's Awakening, and Monica Demis, the director of the film and writer, she simply wrote, thanks for all, TG Geeks. It was really a pleasure.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasure.
We got to sit down. We didn't get to interview her again, but I got a chance to really talk to her. Oh, my gosh.
I didn't get a really chance to chat with her that often. I was too busy.
Yeah. I went over and talked to her for a little bit, and it was kind of nice. So,
I don't know. There's nothing else that I can add to how awesome that movie is, and what a great time we had with the entire cast. And for anybody who wants to know what we thought on this, the link for all these stories will be in our show notes, and that does include the review for Lilith's Awakening. I highly urge all of you to read it. And then regarding the world premiere for Lilith's Awakening, and we interviewed, as you said, 3 of the cast members and the director of photography, and we also were able to record the Q&A that took place when the film was over. Friend of the show and fellow podcaster Kenny Rotter from Dumbbells and Dragons wrote, can't wait to hear about it via the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, Kenny, would love to know what you thought about it.
Yeah.
So now going back a little bit regarding episode 76, this is when we got to interview Russ Emanuel. This was before Comic-Con.
Yeah, right. This was the one before.
Right, where we interviewed, it was Russ, Julia Camera, and Timothy Connolly, who provided some voice work for the movie. Anyway, Russ simply says, TG Geeks interview with the Occupants actress. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Because he did give us several feedback. He simply wrote, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we were happy to. Now, this is why I got confused, because he gave us feedback for episode 78, and that's when he had him in our hotel room. And no, it's nothing sorted. We had our studio there.
Yeah. So we had Russ and we had Brianna White, and then
I think Eric was there.
I think maybe he was.
Let me see.
Gosh, I can't
no,
remember.
no, it was just Russ, and it was Brianna.
Right, and her
just
brother.
them, and her brother who was sitting off in the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even Mr. that Tomasi guy. He wasn't even in the room with us at that point.
Chuck Tomasi.
That Chuck Tomasi guy. Anyway, Russ writes, TG Geeks interview with occupants, actress Brianna White and director Russ Emanuel. Thanks to Keith Lane and Ben Raggington for this second in-house interview, and it was the second in-house interview.
Yeah, because the first one was right after the premiere.
Right after the premiere.
With Russ and Julia Camera and Eric.
Yep.
And you and me. And
Chuck was there,
was
too.
Chuck there?
Yeah, Chuck sat in on that one, too.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was a great interview.
Great roundtable interview.
Yes, it was. And then Kenny Rotter, again, says regarding that interview, okay, so after listening to your last 2 episodes, I must see this movie. I'm already on my way back to Los Angeles. Yeah, because we saw him earlier, like that day or the day before. That day.
Yeah.
We saw him that day.
Yep.
Down in the exhibitors hall. So I didn't realize he was already on his way back to Los Angeles. He says, where can I find it, or where we'll be coming to L.A.? And you already responded to that.
Yeah, I put him in touch with Russ, and he actually watched the film and actually interviewed him, just a couple days later.
Yeah, so I need to listen to that interview, too, because I'd love to know what Kenny thought of the film.
Yeah.
And then regarding episode 79, and this is where we had Christy Hartman.
In the room
with us, with Chuck. God, this is it's like
it was great.
Yeah, Chuck was very much present. I tell you, there's this blending happening between the geeks and the Technorama guys. Anyway, Christy Hartman says, "I had a blast, guys. Thanks." And I re-listened to it, and yeah, it was a very fun episode.
Oh God, we laughed.
There was a lot of laughter. She said after the whole when we finished recording, she made the comment that she had laughed so hard that her face began to hurt.
Her cheeks were hurting.
Her cheeks were hurting, which to me is like, okay, that's a win.
Great, yeah.
That's a win.
Yep.
And then in episode 80, I guess we did a lot of Star Trek talk because that was the episode with Larry Nemechek.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because we got a message from Arkle, and he wrote, all the talk about Trek in episode 80 got me thinking that you guys might enjoy SF Debris. He doesn't only do Trek, but Trek is kind of his bread and butter, so he provided a link for that, and we'll go ahead and share that link on our show notes as well. Now we're going to start going a little bit back in time, because this is now regarding episode 75, where we're talking about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale. Wow. Anyway, Arkle had this to say, I've got to hand it to them. I didn't want the end of the big bad for this half of the season to be a relatively quiet moment. I wanted him to suffer.
Yep.
But damn it, they made it work. I really like that quiet moment when he's just looking at Earth and talking about how beautiful the planet is from up there. In fact, I was actually reminded... Oh, shoot, I actually hit the scroll button, so I lost my place. Oh, pardon me.
Actually reminded very much.
Very much, thank you. Of the final scene of the elusive man in Mass Effect 3. Say what you will about how awful this game's ending was. Everything leading up to it was fantastic. When he says to Shepard, looking at Earth from a distance, much like Hive, "It's so perfect. I wish you could see it like I do, Shepard." I think it says something about the writers. They gave me something I explicitly didn't want, and I ended up liking anyway. Same sort of thing happened with The Force Awakens last year. I went in ready to be mad as hell if Han and Leia had had an off-screen breakup. I hate that trope. But Abrams and Kasdan did it, but they handled it well enough that I was actually not mad about it. Just goes to show sometimes it's a good idea to not give the fans what they want. We can be a whiny, entitled bunch sometimes. Ghostbusters! Yeah. Then also, from that same episode, we had a comment from Patricia Chica, and she simply says, Keith Lane, Ben Raggington, love the best.
Yeah.
Lookie. We love Lookie. They had something to say about episode 74, and in that we had our birthdays, and we talked about Sally Ride, the astronaut, and they came back with possibly of interest. There's an animated episode based on an interview with Sally Ride at Blank on Blank. It's an animated series based on interviews with actors, musicians, writers, filmmakers, scientists, etc. There's also an episode, at time of this posting, with astronomer Carl Sagan.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'm kind of intrigued about that. The idea of doing these interviews, audio interviews, and then animating them.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. And then recently we posted a review of X-Men Apocalypse. And a friend of mine from high school, Don Black, he said, I just thoroughly disagree. Now, if anybody wants to know, I loved it. I very much enjoyed it and had no problem sharing that in the review. Well, Don Black says, I thoroughly disagree. To me, the movie was emotionally flat, with the exception of the scenes in Poland. Singer, as in Bryan Singer, still has a problem directing action sequences. They are little more than posed shots. The Quicksilver scenes were the exception. It was overly long and had an ending as abrupt and unsatisfying as Fantastic Four's. Sophie Turner was either miscast or misdirected. Overly long close-ups of her only drug out the inevitably abrupt ending, and she could not or was not directed well enough to convey the emotional turmoil that her character was supposed to be going through. I give this movie a C+, and in my opinion, Singer needs to hand over the reins. Fantastic Four had its problems, but I wouldn't rate this film above it.
Oh, wow.
Okay. No, all right. No, I don't have a problem with the fact that he didn't like it. But
no, I mean, well, everybody has their own
everybody's
opinion.
got their own opinion. But what impressed me was it was not this wild rhetoric in how he didn't like it. So,
yeah.
Don, I'm gonna put this out to you. Okay, you didn't like the movie. I respect that. What I really did like was your comment. I liked it a lot. So, Don, I'm going to ask you, if at any point you feel like offering a review for a movie, by all means, we'll take it. You know, let us know if you want to write a review, because I loved your comment. I thought it was fantastic. You had some really great points there. So if you ever feel like writing a review for us, be it a TV show, a book, a movie, let us know. We will happily post it because I like your mind.
Yep.
So going on with the comments for the review, friend Michael Rose, he's actually the husband of a very good friend of mine named Jared. He wrote, "Great review, Ben. I, too, was pleasantly surprised." Now, here's where it gets interesting. Crazy Joe, who had already admitted before we had a chance to see it that he loved the movie, simply came back with, if you don't mind my asking, why surprised? I believe that the Fox X-Men movies have been consistently good with the exception of X-Men 3, which, and he parenthetically writes, which I liked. And the ones directed by Bryan Singer, especially X-Men 2 and X-Men Days of Future Past, have been the best of the bunch.
Especially S-Men?
Especially S-Men, yeah. This being a Bryan Singer... No, I'm not going to do that. Therefore, this being a Bryan Singer X-Men sequel... See, you got me doing that now.
Bryan Singer.
X-Men sequel.
X-Men sequel.
Oh, God. You have ruined me. Thank you. I am so derailed now.
Sorry. That's my job.
Yeah, because there's all this X stuff.
All these X's and S's and
therefore,
and that.
Therefore, this being a Bryan Singer X-Men sequel, I expected it to be good, but it seems that many did not. I find that confusing since he has a proven track record with this franchise. Yeah. Okay, no, I can't answer for Michael, and Michael didn't respond to that, but I will answer this. Yeah, I was surprised, and I think the reason I was surprised is because there were a lot of critics that dumped on it. And the only reason normally I don't give critics a lot of credibility ahead of time, because I really want to go into the movie kind of blank and just form my own opinion. But I took theirs with more than a grain of salt, because many of these critics raved about the prior X-Men films, especially First Class and Days of Future Past. They loved those movies. They freely admitted that they love those movies a great deal, and that's why they were so enormously disappointed with X-Men 3. And I kept seeing the same common issue, and that is there were too many characters. Too many heroes. So I was expecting this to be just like this glut of all these mutants, and it would just be a bit overwhelming. So I went in there with a false expectation. I admit that. In fact, I dare say that a lot of their criticisms, I think, are unfounded. The only one that might have any credibility is that they feel that maybe you needed to see Days of Future Past in order to be able to better appreciate X-Men Apocalypse. I had seen it, so I had no problem watching Apocalypse. Now, you saw Days of Future Past after you saw X-Men Apocalypse, but you thought the movie was okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a good film. Yeah.
So I don't understand where the criticisms were coming from. So, Joe, it was my fault. I freely admit it. I allowed myself to get suckered in by the critics before I had a chance to see the film. Normally I don't. This time I did, and that's why I was surprised. But I like being pleasantly surprised. There's no greater joy than to come out of a film being pleasantly surprised. Those are always great.
Yep.
And then, oh man, that Chuck Tomasi guy.
Yeah.
He just doesn't. He's in our shadow all the time.
Yeah.
I think he's stalking us.
Or we're stalking him, one or the other.
I think we're stalking each other at this point. I mean, if he's not on our show, we're on his show or we're at his house.
Exactly.
Go figure. Anyway, Chuck wrote, I really enjoyed this movie. All the young actors did a great job. I especially liked Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. Now there's funny.
Yeah.
Don hated it. Chuck loves her. And he says, I love to see how, although I dare say, I think the reason he may have liked Sophie Turner is because it's a real departure from her as Sansa in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he liked her so much. I love to see how Magneto's internal struggle continues. Yes! That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, and Michael Fassbender did such a great job with that. The music was great. Beethoven's Seventh. Enough said. Absolutely. One of my favorite moments in all of Beethoven's symphonies. For some odd reason, I played that on Spotify the night before, after not hearing it in years. Psychic or latent mutant superpowers? There's a joke somewhere there. I'm going to have to think about it. The only thing about the 1983 setting is that I was having flashbacks beyond belief. Lots of fun. Good adventure. Yeah, I kind of agree. I enjoyed it enormously. It was enormous fun. And then, we were interviewed on Geektitude. Yeah. And that's Joe
Hogan.
Joe Hogan. I won't say Joe Houston. Don't ask me why.
Joe Hogan.
Joe Hogan. He was the host of that. And we will actually have that particular episode on our show notes. It's Geektitude episode 35.
Where we were interviewed. Now, we interviewed Joe and Matt.
Oh, no, in our show. We haven't released that yet.
We haven't released that. We've still got several things in the can that we need to release.
Yeah.
From Phoenix Comic-Con.
Exactly.
But
so, in any case, he posted from Geektitude, just finished a wonderful interview with Ben and Keith of TG Geeks. We talk all about Phoenix Comic-Con. And episode 35 will be up on Monday at 9 a.m. That was a week ago from when this episode comes out. But as I said, we will have that episode up there. And that was a great chat.
Yeah.
It was a really great chat.
Great chat.
And I don't think we hijacked his show too badly.
No, not too badly.
Not too badly.
We went a little long, but
but he liked it. And then, of course, we posted a review of Occupants, the found footage film of voyeurism and psychological terror. And that was released on the day of the world premiere back at Phoenix
2nd,
Comic-Con, which feels like an eternity ago
already.
My
God, yeah.
Well, because we've done so much already since then.
Exactly.
Anyway, wonderful comment from Russ Emanuel. He says, thank you to Ben Raggington of TG Geeks for writing an incredible review of our film Occupants in time for the world premiere tonight at the Phoenix Comic-Con Film Festival. And thank you, Keith Lane. And that's his thank you to you. That's not meant to be. You were very instrumental in putting this whole thing together. You. So.
No.
Yeah, you're not being thrown a breadcrumb there.
I know. I mean, thrown under the bus.
No. Not really. And then also, he posted on, Russ Emanuel posted on Facebook. He said, photos! And we'll have the link to these photos on our show notes. Thank you again to Keith Lane and Ben Raggington. See, you got first billing. Of TG Geeks for interviewing Occupants director Russ Emanuel, writer Julie Camera, lead actress Brianna White, and associate producer Eric
Alexander.
I didn't say that. You just did. That wasn't me. I had a little faux pas. You said that, not me.
Eric Alexander.
Eric Alexander, while we were... I'm going to be in so much trouble in the future, I know. While we were at the Phoenix Comic-Con, we had a blast. And the photos are just all these pictures taken of the studio setup in our hotel room, plus us around the round table, etc., etc., etc. And then, as a little bit of a joke, we posted a photo of us with Alex Kingston. I'm looking at it right now.
Hanging on the studio wall.
Hanging on the studio wall. And, it was really awesome to be able to get that photo taken with her. Well, let me read the comments first. And I'm not going to say who they're all from, but this is some of the comments we received. Oh, cool. Damn. So jealous. What? Nice. What a great picture. OMG, how cool. And then, we got something from Dillo in Berlin. You guys have too much fun. I said that because that's how he talks. And somebody else went, awesome. Very, very cool. I think she actually never ages. So, for what it's worth, yeah, it was really cool that we met her. Okay, I'll pull back the curtain that reveals the magician's trick. We barely got to say a word to her.
Yeah.
They literally...
it was like they run you through. They say, stand here, stand there, boom, you're off.
They kick you out, quite literally. If you want to talk to her, you got to go to her table.
Yep.
It's the
And we
only
tried
way.
that, and we
tried
too
that,
late.
and because she was leaving early, she had to catch a flight back to, I guess, England. So,
Anyway.
we missed her. And I want to make some honorable mentions here. We have something called paper.lead that we put out. And we ran a couple of articles, and one of them was for @IndieMacUser. These guys are in Wales, and it's more of a live blog than a podcast. But we shared an article that they posted on their blog. It came out on one of our editions, and they simply wrote back, "Proud to be Two Gay Geeks also." And I can't say how cool it was to read that.
Cool.
I thought that was awesome. And then somebody on Twitter, he is @PT_Conway, and he simply posted a comment in response to Epic Gray, that is the Twitter,
Joe Hogan.
that's Joe Hogan on Twitter, and he simply wrote, "Thanks to Geektitude, I've now added TG Geeks to the rotation. My morning commute just got better."
That is so cool.
Man,
Thanks.
I'm thrilled by that, but now I feel this enormous sense of responsibility and pressure. It's like, oh man, now I got to really start working. Yeah, I have to work for a living now.
Exactly.
I got to start doing some serious stuff.
Yeah. So that is it for our epic feedback this time. Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there's some really great feedback there, and I want to thank all of you.
Absolutely.
I mean,
everybody.
Everybody.
And
it
if
was
we
just great.
missed somebody, for the last 3 weeks, we apologize. It's been chaotic.
It really has
at
been.
best.
It's really funny how we make
Very hectic.
how we make the joke. At the end of each episode, you say, next week, who knows? Well, for the last,
It's who knows what's going to happen.
we really don't know, and we have literally been running ragged because last Friday,
Yep.
we were interviewed on, it was Phoenix Tonight.
Yep. It's a YouTube show.
It's a YouTube show.
And Russ
Kazmierzak,
who's karaoke
fanboy, karaoke fanboy
on Facebook.
Facebook, yes.
And he's also Karaoke Fanboy Press. He's a comic book artist as well, as having a real job. But he interviewed us, and then Saturday morning we were interviewed by Joe at Geektitude, and then we took off immediately.
Yeah, we were already packed and ready to go. So as soon as that interview was done,
we said goodbye to the cats, and we jumped in the car and
drove
to L.A.
And we drove to L.A. We were able to get dinner there, and then we headed right over to where the premiere party was, and then drove back the next day to crunch out that episode. So we've been really running wild.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy. So if we missed you, we apologize. We do want to hear from you. You are important to us. The feedback is very important to us. We want to know what you think. We want to know what you think of the articles, what we think of the show or the website. Please play nice whenever you do comment or
Please
give us feedback.
Yeah.
I just say that because we've had some less than nice comments and feedback that we've
Well,
had
that
to delete and
yeah,
edit,
we've had to.
but-
That was in the past. I mean, lately everybody
Yeah.
has just been really awesome.
Yep. So you can look us up on Facebook as TG Squared Studios or TG Geeks Webcast, where you can comment on our episodes and articles. You can even comment on our YouTube episodes or at tggeeks.com, where you could receive a shout out in a future episode.
Yeah.
You can also call our listener feedback line, which I didn't check before we did this. We might have a voicemail, but I didn't get an email about it. You can call our listener feedback line, and we'll play your comment on air, as we have from Crazy Joe and from Arkle and from
Roy Roberts, the Bionic Geek.
And that number is 469-TG-GEEKS. That's 469-844-3357.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
And we've talked a little bit about it, and it was talked about on an episode of Technorama recently, but we're going to do a little bit about it here, and that is the wrap-up to Phoenix Comic-Con.
Comic-Con.
Because we really haven't had a chance to talk about
Yeah,
what we
on
did
our
too
show,
much,
yeah.
not on our own show.
So, yeah, it was
Busy.
Once again, it was hectic for us.
Busy.
Yep.
I mean, we worked.
As anybody that's been with their head in the sand or not paying attention to our show, which is maybe new people or anybody, we had quite a busy weekend at Phoenix Comic-Con. We checked into the hotel Wednesday night, set up the studio, and Thursday morning I got up and my Mac had quit, and so we recovered from that by
used
using
my
Ben's
Mac instead, which created all sorts of hectic nightmares because not everything worked the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, and Thursday we got up and we thought, well, we'll go down, we'll go early, maybe we can get our badges, because we tried Wednesday night, but we couldn't get the badges, our media badges. And we thought, well, we'll show up before the doors open. Maybe they'll open early and we can get our badges. And show up at 9 a.m. The doors for registration do not open till 10. Programming doesn't start till noon. Dealer's room doesn't open till 4. And what do we see?
400 people
400 people in line already.
Yeah.
Thursday morning.
It was astonishing.
It was unbelievable. Record turnout for Phoenix Comic-Con. What'd they say, 125?
It was something like the total head count was about 125,000.
Unbelievable.
And we're not talking ticket sales. That's different.
Yeah.
They did 2 counts. They did a ticket sale count, which was still
I think
that still I think exceeded 100,000.
Yeah, it was
a huge amount.
It was just unbelievable.
But the total actual number of warm bodies in there, total it up over the entire time, came to over 100,000, about 125, 130,000. That's the largest attendance ever.
It was unbelievable. It was definitely packed.
It was mad.
So that Thursday we went to a couple of panels in the afternoon, and then that evening was the Occupants.
The Occupants world premiere.
Yeah. So we kind of wandered around and tried to get information for Russ and did some introductions and took him around a little bit and then saw Occupants, then did the interview that night.
Yep.
And then Friday we got up and went over to the dealer's room, and oh my gosh, for just a few minutes.
Well, barely a few minutes, and then now it all starts to become a blur. Now we went to the Star Trek 50th anniversary retrospective. And
talked to Larry Nemechek afterwards.
We got to talk to Larry, who came. It was so funny because I remember we went there thinking we wanted to be supportive of Larry since we'd had him on the show. And thought, oh well, okay, we'll go in support of him.
Just
you
say
bumped
hi.
into him at the hotel.
I had bumped into him. I guess it was Thursday morning when he was checking in.
Right.
I just said, "Hey, Larry."
And yeah, because you recognized him, and of course he'd never seen us.
Right.
So he had no
I
idea who we were.
Introduced myself.
He was probably already flustered to begin with.
Yeah.
Knowing Larry, because he's like a
just
force
busy,
of nature.
Busy.
Man. Larry is a force of nature.
Too many things going on.
Yeah, he's just running all over the place, and it was so funny. He came just running wildly in after the panel had started. But still, we went up and talked to him a little bit after that was over, and he recognized us. And it was so funny how Keith made the mention, we've got our studio set up in our hotel room across the street.
And he says, "You want to do an interview?"
He was like,
yes.
Okay. So just to sweeten the deal, we took him out to dinner.
We took him out to dinner, yeah. And
it turned out to be a miserable experience.
It was hotter than hell in there.
Yeah, because that restaurant had no AC.
The AC was broken, and oh my God.
And we only picked it because we figured that the crowd would probably be at a minimum. Well, there's a reason why it was.
Yeah.
Because it was hot in there.
Exactly. And so,
but we toughed it out, and then we got back to the hotel and did the interview, and it was fantastic.
A really good time, kind of relaxed, and just had a nice roundtable interview that we released here last week sometime.
And didn't we then do the discussion? We had Joe and Matt on after that?
Yes, we talked to Joe Hogan and Matt Lazzalotti of Geektitude.
And we should say that how we met them was pure happenstance.
Well, sort of, kind of.
Well, we weren't supposed to be in the dealer room at that time.
No, well, but we had been introduced through Jeannie, and she put us together with Kenny and several other people. And so we had kind of set up to meet sometime during Phoenix Comic-Con, and we just happened to be standing at Jeannie's table, and there they were, and we stood there and talked for a few minutes.
It was about 10 or 15 minutes, and what I'll say is, from the moment I met them, I knew that I liked them.
Yeah,
immediately.
Just really nice guys.
I liked them, and then we had them. They came to our room, came to our studio. People don't get any bad ideas.
Yeah.
Don't you dare. No, they came to our studio, and we sat down at a table and had a really great chat.
Yeah, we'd already been talking, so the interview kind of picks up where we...
Yeah, because
we said, we should be recording this.
Yeah, we're having this really great little pre-show chat about food, and it was already amusing, and I turned to Keith and says, we really need to be recording this. So we just hit the record and picked right up where we left off. So, but yeah, we had such a great time, and then we chatted for like another hour after that.
And then, and so it was like almost 2 before they left. And then we got up Saturday, and I had some friends, Audra and Greg Hall, and their son Logan, who is 7. He's 7 now.
7.
He had dressed up as, was it?
He was dressed up as Finn wearing Poe's jacket.
Yeah. And so he was really cute, and he got a bunch of photos. He had not been feeling well. In fact, the weekend before, he'd been very sick.
I think with an ear infection, was it?
Yeah, really bad ear infection. So he'd just recovered. He was not feeling too well. So we drug him around the dealer's room, and it was like Audra said, well, we'd probably need to go do something else. Because we were dragging him around mostly.
Well, they wanted to go to the dealer's room too, because there were a couple of people they knew who were supposed to be there.
Yeah. So we finally went up to Hall of Heroes, and Logan just perked up because they had all the Star Wars stuff, and so got lots of photos of him with Star Wars stuff, and then they went home, and then we did. Oh God, what did we do the rest of Saturday? I don't remember.
I can't recall because there's too much. But I think...
we went to Larry's...
that night, Larry had his own little Dr. Trek show.
Yeah. Well, actually, in the afternoon, was it that afternoon? Or was it Friday afternoon? Friday afternoon, we interviewed Brianna.
Yes. It was Friday we interviewed Brianna.
Saturday,
oh, man.
Yeah, Saturday, what did we do? I went to Larry's thing and Dr. Trek. And then I think we just went to bed after.
I think we just crashed because that was like the first night where we weren't going to be going to bed after midnight.
Yeah, and then Sunday we got up and did the photo with.
That was with Alex Kingston.
And then we wandered around a bit with some Chuck and Donna, and
we saw because there was an encore performance,
right,
of Occupants.
Yep, at noon.
So they did that at noon, and so we stuck around for that, and there was another Q&A, so we stayed for that as well.
Yep.
And then we wandered around. Then I think we finally made our way down to the exhibitors hall, or the dealer's room, as I like to call it. and wandered around there, but not nearly as much time as we would have liked.
Yeah, we just missed so much, and we missed virtually every panel that existed at Comic-Con, and a bunch of other stuff. We were just too busy. They had so much programming. It was unbelievable this year.
And of course, clearly one of the big things is because Occupants was there and Occupants was doing its world premiere, we were putting a lot of emphasis towards that. So a lot of our time was clearly focused on that.
Yeah.
So that kind of carved into, but I'm not complaining. I'm glad we did that.
Absolutely.
Because I felt it needed the push. And it was a thrill to be able to talk to all of them, right after their world premiere, because I really wanted to get their takes on the whole Occupants film, the comic book tie-in, Brianna's acting, and again,
the one thing we did Sunday afternoon was we got to talk to Dave Beatty at his table.
We chatted with him at his table for a little bit.
Yeah, so we're
not an interview.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're going to have him on the show at some point soon.
Yeah. Oh, and we did get to meet Robert Beltran.
Yeah. So
it was very pleasant.
Yeah, very nice.
Such a nice man. I mean, he's such a nice man. No, really. I mean, he was terribly nice. It was really a pleasure to be able to chat with him. But that was about it. I mean, we were running wild the entire time.
Yeah.
And I remember Chuck mentioning a little bit later how much he enjoyed this Comic-Con because he could just go as a convention guest as opposed to when he goes to Dragon Con, because there he's representing. He's working Dragon Con, just like we were working Comic-Con here.
Yeah. So that's our wrap up of Phoenix Comic Con. We had a great time.
It was a great time. I loved it. I think we learned a lot.
They're doing a great job there at Phoenix Comic Con, and more power to them.
Yeah.
And good luck in the future.
Absolutely.
And now we have a little special segment.
Oh.
And
this is tough.
This one's a tough one.
This is tough. While we were in, it was while we were down in Southern California.
Actually,
it was Sunday morning.
Yeah,
we were just getting up. We were getting ready to pack up and make the drive back to Phoenix. And I just quickly checked Facebook for any messages or comments, things like that, and I saw the horrible news about the Orlando shooting.
Yep.
At a gay nightclub, and I remember being feeling kind of really numb over that.
Yeah.
It was very sad. It wasn't until and I should say I knew that. Because it was less than a day old, not even 24 hours, because it happened like 1 or 2 in the morning in Florida. I knew that there was going to be a lot of news that was going to filter through over the course of days in terms of the details regarding the horrible incident. And it wasn't until I remember Monday I was a wreck.
Yeah, and I traveled this last week, so
and you were busy.
I was purposefully kind of trying to stay numb.
Yeah,
and
you locked it down. You weren't.
I needed to be on for my customer, and and it wasn't till Thursday afternoon when I was sitting at the airport for several hours because I finished early, and that's when all of the sadness hit and the anger at the same time.
Yeah,
and it was just.
Awful. I remember I just cried my eyes out on Monday. I was just horribly distressed, especially as I read the faces. I read the stories and all the individual people. It was really heartbreaking, and we're not gonna go into all the little side arguments. Anything.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that.
It was a senseless tragedy.
It was a horrible tragedy, and the only thing we want to say is that our hearts go out big time to the families and the loved ones
and the friends
and the friends, all those who were connected to those 49 people that died.
Yep.
And
the ones that were injured too.
And the ones that were injured, and I want to address the one thing about the 49 people. It's been said, 49 of our GLBT brothers and sisters, and actually it's 48. Because the 49th was a mother. She was there in support of her gay son, and they were there. They were dancing. when it happened. I know it's horrible. So 48 of our gay brothers and sisters, and a mother.
Yep.
Our hearts go out to all of them. Her son is alive. He's injured, but he's alive.
Yeah,
So we just want to acknowledge how terribly sad we are that that this happened. And what I will say something positive, and that is the support, the outcry of support that has been happening around the world has been absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
I mean, it's
and even our own president, or he's the general conference minister. He's the head of the United Church of Christ.
John
John
Dorhauer.
Went down to Orlando.
Yeah.
And was also in South Carolina yesterday and today for the shooting that happened there that killed 9 people at the church there. But he was in Orlando, and it just all of the wonderful things, the positive things, the people that have blocked the Westboro Baptist from the funerals that have already begun to take place. It's just the outpouring of love. The outpouring of love
and support
is wonderful.
That's the one shining thing. I mean, it's sad that it takes a tragedy in order to realize that this love is there, but this love is always there.
Yep.
It has always been there, and it will always be there. And that's really the message that I think we need to take away from this if we want to look towards a more positive and a brighter future. And that we should really, I think we need to work as a community at spreading that love.
Yep.
That's what we need to do.
And before we devolve into something else, we'll move on to another segment.
Yeah, and this just happened. This broke shortly before we started recording, and we've already got an article posted for this on our website. The link will be there. Star Trek's Anton Yelchin, he's dead due to a tragic car accident.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Really sad.
He was 27 years old. He was found early this morning. It's just a really tragic accident. He was pinned against a brick wall by his car. He lives on a rather slanted, the car was parked on a steep incline, and apparently the car had gone into neutral, and the engine was running, and he got pinned against a brick mailbox, which was attached to a security gate. So it's just a tragic accident. There's no foul play. It's just sad. Yep. It's just really sad because this kid was such an amazing actor, and he was highly intelligent. Everybody just marveled at how unbelievably smart he was. I mean, I remember hearing jokes about how he was like a master chess player.
Wow.
Bruce Greenwood, who played Chris Pike in the movies, who kind of fashioned himself as being a really awesome chess player, got the pants beaten off of him by Anton multiple times while they were filming the first Trek film. So yeah, we just wanted to share our deepest sympathies. We're so sad that Anton is gone. I think even though Chekhov was not exactly the biggest role, he certainly left his mark, and that's not a role that can be replaced now.
No.
Which is really sad.
Yep.
So we just want to offer our deepest condolences to his family, his friends, and his loved ones, and all the cast of Star Trek, and the cast of all the different projects that he's working on.
Yep.
We want to offer our condolences to them, and how sorry we are that we're suffering with you, we're grieving with you on this. So yeah, Anton Yelchin dead at 27, and he will be missed.
Yep. And of course, we always have some follow-up items, and it's kind of. I don't know. It's weird to just do these
somber to do these right now.
I know. I just want to let you know that we do have a calendar on a website for birthdays, celebrities, friends, cons, film festivals, etc. If you know of something that needs to be on the calendar that you want to let people know about, send us a note. And as you know by now, we've become huge supporters of independent creators, not just film, but any kind of creative outlet that is of an independent nature. And we know we're always pushing something, but this is what we've become passionate about right now. I mean, we want to support these people. We've seen their work. We've helped with their work. We've interviewed them. We've talked to them. We've met them. it is what we're kind of all about now.
You know, when we were on Russ's show, he asked us, what's the big movies that you've seen this summer? And I turned back to him and said, we've actually seen more independent films than we have seen major studio productions.
Yep.
So yeah, that independent creators, that's the big push.
Absolutely. And we just ask that you take a look at these independent creators that we talk about and others you may discover on your own, and give them a helping hand. Sometimes it doesn't have to be much. Usually as little as $5 helps in the big scheme of things.
You have no idea how that helps them.
It really does, because some of them are on micro budgets, some of them are big budget, but they are still supportive of the people that give just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So please consider supporting independent creators. So now that Phoenix Comic-Con has come and gone, they have 2 new things going on. They have announced FanFest 16 will be at October 22nd and 23rd in downtown Phoenix at the Convention Center. They'll have more information soon, so check out phoenixcomiccon.com. And for you people that are year-round Halloween fans, Keen Halloween returns to Phoenix on September 23rd and 24th at the Convention Center. And you can find more about information about that at keenhalloween.com. It's a joint venture, I think, between the people that create Phoenix Comic-Con and Keen Halloween.
Well, if I remember right, we met
Yep.
one of the gals who is she's very connected with Keen Halloween. She's the sister of Matt Solberg.
Yep.
Who is the head honcho for
Convention
Phoenix
director,
Comic-Con.
yep.
He's a convention director. And we need to give a special shout out to the Doctor Who Fancast Guide. It is Doctor Who Talking Who on Twitter. You can read the Fancast Guide at Talking Who. And then there's also the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News. If you wish to read the Dispatch News, just go to Social Justice Scald. He is on Twitter, known as @Arkle. And he also has the Incorrect Star Trek Voyager quotes on Tumblr. We ask that you check those out. If you need a good laugh, that's a good place to get it.
Yeah. We want to give a shout out to The Lucky Show, the twins, Sasha and Dagmar. They are really a hoot. They give us lots of love on Twitter, and you can check them out at Lucky Show on Twitter and catch their show on YouTube as The Lucky Show. If you like old movies, this is the show for you.
And we must always give a special shout out to, in my opinion, probably one of the greatest Facebook groups ever, and that is The Gay Geek, because they have fabulous content. The people who follow and post there are fabulous people. It's a page, it's a group that's filled with just great geeky love. And their head honcho is Jeremiah Reeves, and I mentioned him because he gave us his blessing to share our episodes there.
Yeah,
so,
thanks, Jeremiah.
yeah, absolutely. So just check out facebook.com/groups/thegaygeek.
And we want to give a big thank you to whoever it was that nominated us for a Parsec Award. So just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely.
And we want to remind you to occasionally click on an Amazon ad. We post those ads at the end of our articles, as well as we have some sidebars for different books and authors that we're supporting. It doesn't cost anything for you to click on an ad. You don't have to buy anything. It just tells Amazon that we're getting traffic. However, if you do want to buy something from Amazon, please use one of our search ads. We get a little kickback from them. Not much, because since we started putting the ads, we've made a whole whopping $2.
Hey
How about
now.
that? So thank you for your consideration about that. And lastly, please rate us on iTunes. Thank you to JockNerd234 for our first review.
Yay!
So that's it for the follow-up items. And that's our up next week sound. Who knows?
I have no
we
idea.
We never know.
I have no idea what's going to be coming down the road.
We might have stuff that we've got in the can, or who knows?
It could be something that we're going to learn about on Friday. Who
Yeah,
knows?
exactly. We never know.
Sometimes it happens like the day before we record.
Exactly. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for the webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.